This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Tonight, turbine tension. Guysborough County residents react to one company's plan to build what could be Nova Scotia's largest wind farm.
Changing skyline. A new residential tower in Halifax takes the title as the city's tallest building.
And June bugs. Why one scientist thinks the unpopular insect is misunderstood.
Hot and humid air on the way in over the next few days as a heat dome sets up over the province. Your full forecast details are coming up.
Good evening. Residents in Guysborough County are still reeling after learning more details about what could be Nova Scotia's largest wind farm in their backyards.
But people who live in the area aren't convinced the Everwind project will even come to fruition. Luke Ettinger has tonight's top story.
Beautiful river.
Scott Beaver wants to protect Nova Scotia's longest river, the St. Mary's, but the forest around the 250 kilometers of water could be changing. Everwind plans to build up to 404 turbines across 3 sites in Guysborough County.
This is definitely a greener project than anything that's been proposed in this area in the past, but we also have to take into consideration the citizens that live in the area and the ecological significance that the St. Mary's has and provides.
If it were operating today, the Everwind project would well outsize other operations in the province. Nova Scotia's 2 largest wind farms have 34 turbines each.
What we're seeing is that as the technology's developed and become more economic and efficient, that people have started developing larger scale wind farms.
Everwind has installed a meteorological tower at the first site near St. Francis Harbour in Boylston. Up to 84 turbines could go there, and up to 160 could go in the Larrys River and New Harbour West area, and the same amount at a third site between Port Bickerton and Aspen. The energy will go directly to a green hydrogen and ammonia plant in Point Tupper, not the Nova Scotia power grid.
There are sectors of the economy that are very difficult to decarbonize and very difficult to electrify. So heavy transportation, shipping, mining, for example, and hydrogen can be used as a fuel for those industries.
Everwind is promising millions in annual tax revenue for the local municipalities. The District of Guysborough has also signed a community benefit agreement, promising $1,000 per megawatt of electricity generated. Just one turbine can generate 6 megawatts annually.
The province, Canada, the world has to decide. Do we want green energy or do we not want it? Do we want to keep discussing it? Do we want to keep studying it? Or do we want to do something?
Still, the wind farm won't be an easy sell. Residents at this open house in Sherbrooke said they suspect Everwind will be similar to other area projects that never got off the ground or have stalled, such as the abandoned Goldboro LNG project, a yet-to-open whale sanctuary, and a plan floated a decade ago by a Chinese firm to build a resort.
We are maybe a little bit jaded, I guess, when it comes to looking at these projects right off the bat. So the company will have to understand that, I guess, when they're talking with us.
While Guysborough sites aren't scheduled to start construction until 2026, Everwind is also planning to build 80 turbines at 3 other locations in central Nova Scotia. Luke Ettinger, CBC News, Sherbrooke.
Tomorrow marks 1 year since the submersible known as the Titan dove to the Titanic wreck site southeast of Newfoundland. All 5 passengers were killed. Today, Canadian investigators provided an update into their investigation. Transport Canada has maintained over the past year that it did not have jurisdiction over the submersible, but the Marine Transportation Safety Board appears to disagree. Canadian investigators say the Titan made several dives inside Canadian waters and more than a dozen dives in international waters. Despite the Titan regularly leaving from a Canadian port and being transported by a Canadian-flagged ship, neither the submersible nor its launch platform was registered with the Canadian agency.
They're telling the regulator that they were not able to confirm whether these submersibles have been the subject to oversight by TC or other certifying bodies. And when I say submersibles, that's because there's a policy that's been put in place in 2005 by Transport Canada, a policy on passenger submersible craft. And what the TSB has found is that they haven't been able to confirm if if TC was providing oversight on the submersibles and on this particular one, also the Titan.
On Friday, the U.S. Coast Guard said their investigation is taking longer than expected due to the complicated nature of the situation.
Nova Scotia Power got the green light from the Utility Review Board last week to build 3 massive batteries to connect to the power grid. The project is estimated to cost more than $300 million, but the utility says it's a necessary part of the province's green transition. NSP is obligated through provincial legislation to get off coal and reach 80% renewable energy by 2030. It says energy storage will be a critical part of that transition. Most renewable sources like solar and wind energy are intermittent, and that's why the utility is planning to install 3 lithium-ion battery systems that will fill up when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing, and then feed that energy back to the grid during peak demand. Construction will now begin in 3 sites in Bridgewater, Kings County, and the Halifax area. All 3 batteries should be operating by 2026. A federal grant will cover the $116 million of the cost. The remaining $237 million will be footed by ratepayers.
There could be a shark warning sign coming to a beach near you this summer. Research shows there's a growing number of sharks in our waters, including great white sharks. The Ocean Tracking Network at Dalhousie University is working with the Life Saving Society of Nova Scotia to decide what kinds of signs should be used and which beaches should have them.
It's about a situational awareness for everybody. We have to remember that we are guests in the ocean, whereas it is home for animals like sharks. So we're moving in there into their place of business, so to speak. And so we want to be good guests when we go in there. And amongst the characteristics of being a good guest is not having harmful interactions with them.
I'll talk with Fred Wariski, the director of the Ocean Tracking Network, about the shark signs and what he considers the growing need for them is. That's our Newsmaker interview just after 6:30. Speaking of beaches, the sun is out. Summer appears to have arrived.
And it sounds like the beach would be a good place to be later this week to cool off.
Definitely. It's going to be a place where many are going to be flocking to find some relief from not just the heat, but the humidity that's going to be building in. Tom and Amy, thanks so much. High temperatures today, picture perfect. Low humidity, temperatures low to mid-20s in most cases, but that is about to change. The heat dome that's been making headlines as it's been building across the U.S. into the Great Lakes is going to be working into our neck of the woods. Yes, beginning tomorrow is when we'll start to feel it. Those temperatures will start to crank up. Humidex values are going to be 28 to 32. As we work our way into the Wednesday time period, we're going to be feeling 34 to 38. And then as we work our way into Thursday, we're going to be feeling more like 35 to 40, maybe 41. So Wednesday, Thursday are going to be really the days that we're going to have to be extra safe, making sure we're staying hydrated. Maybe not that long distance marathon run, not the greatest of ideas on Wednesday or Thursday. And again, that's just one part of the story is the daytime heat. The other part of the story is the nighttime lows that are going to be so oppressive. And for that, we look at the dew point, right? It's just a perfect way to measure how it's going to feel. And as we look at the Tuesday afternoon dew points, yeah, we're getting into the noticeable range of it feeling uncomfortable. But by the time we get to Wednesday, humid, oppressive, that air is going to be so saturated that your body is not going to be able to sweat the way it wants to cool itself down. And that's going to be the story again for Thursday. And the nighttime lows, again, these dew points are going to be staying very high. So it's going to be an uncomfortable sleep for many, especially for those without air conditioning. Now, as we look into the Friday time period, we've got a frontal boundary moving in. Look at the dew points dropping here in the northeast on Friday afternoon. It's going to take longer for Halifax in through the southwest, but we'll all get into that fresher air mass by the time the weekend rolls around. And I would say by then, we'll be definitely welcoming it with open arms. So
yes,
we'll talk about that more with your 7-day forecast.
All right, lots to talk about for sure. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, there's a new residential tower in Halifax that's turning heads and breaking records. As Emma Smith explains, it's among a group of new developments that are changing the city skyline.
A few years ago, I was getting a number of calls just about, what is going there. And then as people found out it was going to be 30 odd stories, like, wait, what? How can that happen down at the Rotary?
It's an unusual sight in a city as short as Halifax. At 111 meters, this is our tallest building. Still under construction, but heralding a new era of height for the city.
The idea now that we're adding 10, and now for the last couple of years, 20,000 people a year moving to Halifax, we need the density and we need the height, and I think people recognize that.
7177 Quinpool Road is 250,000 square feet, and the developers say it's 33 stories if you count to the very top level of mechanical equipment. It's 32 stories if you go up to the top livable floor. Construction began quietly a few years ago. The project didn't need public consultation or even approval by council. That's because it met old land use requirements that date back to the late 1970s, and they didn't limit height here. The developers, Joseph and George Ramia, say when it's all done, there will be 92 apartments with parking and amenities at the bottom. So here's how it stacks up next to Halifax's other tall buildings. Purdy's Wharf 2 is 87.8 meters. The former Fenwick Tower is 99 meters from street level and 106 if you include underground parking. Richmond Yards is a bit over 103 meters, and our tallest building near the Rotary, 111 meters.
He would say, the tallest building east of Montreal, designed by J. Philip Demerick, or Demerick and Byrne, depending on what mood he was in. He was so proud of that, he loved it.
Sid Demerick's dad helped design the Fenwick Tower. It might be a humble structure, but it held the title of Halifax's tallest building for about 50 years. It was built to be a luxury condo, but that never panned out. And even though it's been redone, over the years it's been ridiculed by some as an eyesore.
I think people don't appreciate the beauty of it.
Neil Lovett with Turner, Drake and Partners says public opinion of tall buildings is slowly changing.
If you go and really look at the conversations on the ground in most, at least North American cities and much larger cities with much taller buildings than Halifax, these same discussions are happening everywhere, and in fact are much more contentious, I would say, and much more heated and frankly much more ridiculous. I'm not surprised that it's taken Halifax a certain amount of time. It's taken everywhere a certain amount of time.
Joseph and George Ramia with Rank Incorporated told me in an email that they traveled to other North American cities to get inspiration. They say they settled on a slim tower design to best capture the views of the Northwest Arm. They weren't available to do an interview with me. But I did talk with a structural engineer who works on tall buildings, and he told me in Halifax, wind is king. When it comes to building this tall, you need to account for things like wind tunnels on the street level and vibrations on the top floor. That's why tall buildings have what are called shear walls for extra support. These vertical beams take the force of the wind and they push it down into the foundation. You can also put anchor points right into the bedrock. The municipality also has some specific rules when it comes to building this tall.
So we have things like street wall height, so it has to be at least 2 or 3 stories. And what that does is it sets back any tower portions. Also, we want to keep those towers relatively skinny, not as skinny as this one, but relatively skinny, so that they don't block as much sun and shadow areas, especially around, say, pedestrian-oriented main streets.
Under Halifax's new rules, buildings as tall as 40 stories are now permitted in other areas of the city, such as Roby Street and near the McDonald Bridge in Dartmouth, where projects are already underway. Cleary says these neighborhoods are right for height, given their proximity to services and transit routes. Still, our skyline is dwarfed when you compare it to other major cities. New York City's One World Trade Center is 541 meters. And Dubai, it has the world's tallest building at a whopping 828 meters. But Lovett and Cleary agree a building's height isn't that big of a deal.
If you really think about how you experience a tall building, there's not really a lot of difference between, 8 stories and 80 stories. What's much more important, I think, is the design at ground level, how these buildings contribute to the streetscape, the public realm, as we say in planning.
The development near the Rotary is expected to be completed and ready for people to move in early next year. But with other high-rises already on Halifax's horizon, it likely won't hang on to the record for long. Emma Smith, CBC News, Halifax.
A living shoreline is being installed at a popular lake in Dartmouth. The pilot project is a first for the Halifax Regional Municipality. Volunteers and city staff spent much of the week building the living shoreline and learning how to monitor and maintain it. Using natural materials, living shorelines aim to reduce erosion and reduce the flow of contaminants into the lake. At Lake Banook in Dartmouth, goose poop is of particular concern.
Hopefully it will filter through some of the stormwater that comes through. It will stop the geese from laying their droppings here, and we'll filter through all of that stuff. Naturalized places are really great at doing that. So we're hoping that this will keep the water quality right here fairly good for swimming and for just like recreating, and also for just like the values of like having healthy water.
The municipality is working with a local company that's previously built living shorelines in PEI and New Brunswick. HRM has identified 32 other sites where it plans to do naturalization projects.
A popular tourist attraction in Glace Bay is nearing the completion of a multi-million-dollar makeover. Renovations to the Cape Breton Miners Museum is aimed at keeping the rich history of coal mining on the island alive for generations to come. The CBC's Kyle Moore has the story.
If something happened underground, they knew exactly who was underground.
The lamp house is where miners collected and returned their lamps and writing checks or tallies at the start and end of each shift. It's one of many new additions to the Cape Breton Miners Museum and part of $3 million in renovations.
Well, we've heard it already. People are coming in and saying, wow, this is not the museum that I remember. Everything's changed. And it's just so much more animation in here, so much more. It tells a broader story.
Part of the museum has been constructed to look more like a colliery with a dragoman station, a wash house, and a rake car. Mary Pat Mumbercat says the goal is to enhance visitor experience through new exhibits, animation, and to tell the miner story with pictures. She says it's important to attract the younger generation through their doors.
If we don't get the youth to understand their history, we're going to lose it, and we don't want to lose our history. So we want the locals to come in, we want the school kids to come in, we want people to come in and get excited about this museum because it's their museum.
Besides their new look, there's also new life for an old favorite. The Miners Village restaurant will soon reopen its doors thanks to Fran Murphy and Maureen Spagnolotti.
We couldn't see such a integral part of the museum be closed, and it's just a good part of the history for the museum.
Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the museum attracted 15,000 visitors each year.
Last year they started to rebound. We got about 12,000. So we're hoping that we're on the upward trend again. So we're really hoping to reach the 15,000 once again.
The museum will be open 7 days a week for locals and tourists alike starting next Wednesday. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Glace Bay.
Well, the sounds are slightly triggering. Pings off the screen door, buzzing wings in your hair.
Yep, June bug season is hard to love, but one assistant professor at Dalhousie University, who's loved them since he was a wee grub himself, makes the case for their contributions to our ecosystem. He spoke to the CBC's Jane Sponigal.
Oh God, why am I having it on my finger? I have it on my finger. That's on me. That's not a button. Oh, that's a June bug. Oh God.
They really are gentle insects.
And why do you love June bugs so much?
I've loved them since I was a kid. They're a bit obnoxious to get stuck in your hair. They're kind of clumsy. And people are often pretty afraid of them, but they don't bite. They're quite cute. Like, that's the insect that I have the best memory of collecting, is I used to just fill buckets with them. My brother and sister and I would go outside and find them on windows, find them at lights. We'd rescue them out of friends' swimming pools. We'd find their little wings underneath the windows in the morning where things had eaten them. Like, they were always a really big curiosity. And it was always, something we'd look forward to that time of the year, when school's coming to an end and you start finding these things at the bus stop. I definitely have a very sentimental place in my heart for June bugs, yeah, I do. But when you turn it over, They have sort of like a fuzzy, almost like peach fuzz on them, and it's a lighter color, and they have these big eyes, these very cute antennae that move really nicely. Their legs they kind of wiggle a lot when you pick them up, which is nice. A lot of people have fear of insects, and the closer you get, the more familiar you become. That fear turns more into curiosity, and I think that they're a really nice species to make that shift from fear to curiosity. It's the way they cling into people's hair, I think, that really upsets people. Because they are loud, they make a big buzz when they get caught in your hair, and it can feel a little bit unpleasant, the feelings of feet on your neck or on your scalp. So I get it, but I think once you know what you're dealing with, it's like meeting a dog that might look a little bit scary, and once you become familiar with it, no, it's just a scary looking dog, but it's a big, lovable pooch, right?
Sell me on why I should like June bugs.
Okay, I think June bugs are a great ambassador for getting to love other insects. They have this incredible life cycle. So we often think about metamorphosis and butterflies and how they change from these funny little caterpillars. June bugs do exactly the same thing, except the larvae you never encounter unless you're digging in the soils. So June bugs, they feed on the roots of grasses, right? And the roots of grasses aren't particularly nutritionally suitable for everything to eat. Yeah. But what they do is they take this source of food, which is some lignin and some fiber, maybe a bit of sugars, and then it's going to convert it into this little package that is edible by so many things. A lot of different things are going to be feeding on this species. So they're basically connecting other parts of the food web and allowing larger life forms to exist in the wider environment.
Are they around for very long?
Yeah, it's not long. I'd say days to a week. Maybe eat a few leaves and then lay your eggs and die. Yeah, so
I guess maybe being a little sympathetic to the end of their life cycle.
Totally, that's another really good point. Yeah, it's the last moments. You want to honor them and maybe move them away from the light or take them out of your home and let them back into the environment. Yeah, it's the last hurrah.
And they're kind of a pretty color, too.
Yeah, he makes a good case, but I don't think Jane was convinced.
And you're not crazy about the grub phase either, are you?
No, I prefer the bug, actually, to the wormy part. Yeah, no.
There you go, June bugs. First quick break on the way. Stay with us.
Yes, there's a lot more to come on CBC Nova Scotia News. Green Party leader Elizabeth May calls on colleagues to discuss contentious foreign interference report in private.
And a push from the U.S. Surgeon General to put tobacco-style warning labels on social media sites.
Isn't that peaceful? Shuby Park. Folks enjoying it there. Ryan is up next with his weather forecast. We'll see you in a few minutes.
is extremely hot for June, and New Yorkers should not underestimate the heat.
Well, the official start of summer is still a few days away, but heat records are already being forecast across much of North America. As Ryan was talking about, forecasts indicate temperatures will feel nearly 40 degrees Celsius in New York.
The U.S. is expected to see as many as 200 new heat records in the coming days. A powerful high-pressure system known as a heat dome has trapped hot air over much of the U.S.
And that is a major concern there and something we'll be thinking about in the next few days.
Yeah, it's headed our way.
Yeah, and a quick reminder for the heat warnings, which have already been issued for some of us. What does a heat warning mean? Why is it in place? Well, have a look at the criteria. So that is 2 or more days at temperatures of 29 or warmer, plus nighttime temperatures of 16 or warmer, or 2 or more days of humidex values 36 or higher. So that is why only western areas are in that heat warning now, again, because it just includes the next 2 days, but that heat warning will be expanded and include the entire province by the time we get to tomorrow at this time, as we will include Wednesday and Thursday. Now, high temperatures today, you can see, beautiful. High teens, low to mid 20s. And again, there was no humidity to speak of today. Those dew points were super low. It was just a nice, fresh air mass, and that is about to change as we look at the dew point values. Again, it is a tropical air mass coming in to the province, and you can see that those dew points are indeed tropical across Florida, and then now edging up Toronto at a dew point of 21. And this is the air mass that's on its way for us. Now, this area of high pressure is helping to conduct that traffic, and you can see some showers and a few rumbles of thunder here. And we are going to get a little more unsettled towards the end of the week. There is a slight risk of a shower or rumble of thunder maybe Thursday. On the leading edge of this warm, muggy air, we've got some clouds and a couple of showers that are starting to edge in, but these won't really amount to much. A couple of sprinkles. Thankfully, we did get that rain on Saturday. Now for tonight, shower chances will be confined to mainly the western part of the province. Winds generally will become southwesterly. Tomorrow's forecast, southwest winds for Cape Breton and Guysborough and edging into Antigonish County. Temperatures are going to be ranging from the mid to high 20s for tomorrow. And we will be looking at, again, cooler temperatures right along the Atlantic coastline, temperatures closer to the high teens. But again, that humidity will already start to build, and it'll feel more like high 20s edging towards 30 as we work our way to inland areas of Cape Breton. Central parts of Nova Scotia will be, again, cooler along parts of the coast, but many of us will be into the mid to high 20s for tomorrow. And we are going to be looking at those high 20s really setting up across western Nova Scotia, hence the heat warning that is in place. Cooler, again, along parts of the coast. Wednesday's forecast, a more widespread high 20, low 30, and this is when we are really going to be feeling that humidity as well. It'll really start to be setting up and feeling quite oppressive. Humidex values on Wednesday will be more like 35 to 40, and then for Thursday, you can see those high temperatures are going to be widespread, high 20s, low 30s again, and that humidity will really be at its peak. And it looks like for Thursday, we'll be looking at humidex values 36 to 42. So these are going to be the really dangerous days. We're going to want to stay hydrated and watch that physical exertion. But again, it's not just the daytime heat, it's the nighttime lows. And finally, this humidity will break as this cold front shoots through as we move through Friday. And that's why you see the muggy meter, kind of the humidity building and building and building as the dew point climbs, and we are looking at notably noticeable to mighty muggy to truly tropical, and then it just falls off a cliff as this cold front comes through as we move throughout the day on Friday. And we'll all be waiting and welcoming it when it does, no doubt. There's the humidity. And then once that front comes through Thursday night into Friday, we'll see some isolated showers with that. Friday will still be warm, but notably a lot less humid. And then the weekend will look much more pleasant. Temperatures more comfortable for this time of year for the first full weekend of summer. Tom and Amy.
Prepare to sweat in the meantime, though.
Yeah, definitely.
That's right.
Okay, thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
The weather update is brought to you by Tourism Gaspésie. Plan your stay in Gaspésie at tourismgaspésie.com and enjoy extraordinary moments.
Up next, I'll talk with the head of the Ocean Tracking Network about what he sees as the need for signs on some beaches warning people of sharks in our waters. That's our Newsmaker interview.
Do stay with us. You are watching CBC Nova Scotia News.
Research shows there's a growing number of sharks in our waters, including great white sharks. The Ocean Tracking Network at Dalhousie University is working with the Life Saving Society of Nova Scotia to decide what kinds of warning signs should be used and which beaches should have them. Fred Wariski is the director of the Ocean Tracking Network. So why do you think we need signs?
Signs are all about information. For the same reason we want signs is the same reason we want, for example, television stations.
Okay, we like
We want
that.
to get information out that's good for the public.
No, for sure. We've been seeing sort of these kinds of signs, or some signs regarding shark populations in places like Maine, where maybe the white sharks have been there a little more longer, maybe, but as we're seeing more and more great white sharks off Nova Scotia, timing is right now.
So the ontogeny of this starts down in Cape Cod. So sometime in the early 1990s or so, a colonizing group of gray seals took off from Sable Island and they settled down on Chatham's shorelines and began to reproduce. So now you've got about 14,000 gray seals there, and they've been bringing in the white sharks to this lovely area of beaches that is heavily frequented by tourists during the summer season. And what happened a few years back was there was a fatal attack when a shark hit one of these bathers that was in the water. And following that, moves were made to put aggressive signs up, ones that were stridently warning of this population of sharks that were there and the things that you should be doing to try to minimize your risk of interacting with them in a harmful way. And following on that, other groups have begun to take up signs. But the further away you get from places like Cape Cod, the characteristics of the sign begin to change. So that, for example, in Scituate, Massachusetts, where I actually grew up as a kid, there are signs up there talking about a variety of different things, how to stay safe on the beach. So watch out for riptides and what are the laws about how you should be putting your dogs on the beaches. But they've added in there as another one of the safety concerns, sharks and what you should do to try to avoid risk with them, and also how to identify the harmless sharks from the harmful sharks that are present out there.
Yeah, because it can be a fine line between sharing information and scaring people, can't it?
Yeah, it can be. But on the other hand, we've got all sorts of signs warning, for example, pedestrian signs that are warning people about when and where to cross streets. And we have little flags that are available in some of our crosswalks so that the people who are crossing the street can add that as another risk reduction factor as you are crossing the crosswalk, even though the yellow lights are blinking, sort of thing. So there are a variety of mechanisms that we use to take the risk out of everyday things that we do.
And so what do you hope or think that the signs would accomplish? I mean, is it reminding people about playing safely in our waters? Is it just being more aware of your surroundings?
It's about a situational awareness for everybody. We have to remember that we are guests in the ocean, whereas it is home for animals like sharks. So we're moving in there into their place of business, so to speak. And so we want to be good guests when we go in there. And amongst the characteristics of being a good guest is not having harmful interactions with them.
And so which beaches should have the signs and what should they exactly say?
So we've been talking to some of the municipalities and as well the Nova Scotia Lifeguard Service. They are best positioned to make this kind of decision. The kinds of well, they are, first off, they're tasked to manage the risks for people, and they understand the public that they're dealing with and the kinds of information that they do need. They also understand the local circumstances. So what we do is we work behind the scenes to provide information to these groups, but they will take the lead on determining where and when the signs will go.
And how soon could we see the signs?
I think some of the information will get out there, and it may not come in signs in perhaps the way you're thinking about it, these big pancarts or things that are posted on the beaches. It may be one of these small folding signs like you see outside one of our stores in Halifax, which the lifeguards at various beaches put out on a daily basis. And there'll be a QR code that you can scan, and that will take you to a website where there will be various tips about how to be safe at beaches. And it'll talk about riptides and safe swimming, and it'll talk also about sharks as part of that.
Mm-hmm. All good information, I'm sure. Fred Woriski, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you very much.
Coming up, author Dan Brown takes the stage with the New Brunswick Children's Orchestra for a performance of his children's book. Welcome back. Green Party leader Elizabeth May is standing by her comments after reading the foreign interference report. May says she's convinced none of her current colleagues in the House of Commons are betraying their country.
But as Olivia Stefanovich reports, her comments are doing little to calm fears about foreign meddling in Canada's elections.
As the House of Commons gets ready to rise for the summer, no consensus from MPs about how to handle foreign interference.
Is it time to tighten up nominations?
Well, it likely wouldn't hurt.
You know, I think we are on a good spot, responsible. Our leader is there to protect Canadians.
This is riding specific, but it comes down to the political parties doing a better job policing their nomination. So I have no issue with it in my riding and on my side of the aisle.
But one thing is clear. The shockwaves of a national security and intelligence report alleging some parliamentarians help foreign states interfere in Canadian politics continue to reverberate.
I'm confident with what I read.
Prompting Green Party co-leader Elizabeth May to clarify her position.
I don't want to, for any reason at all, create impressions for Canadians that Mr. Singh and I disagree on the contents.
The two opposition leaders generated two vastly different reactions after reading the report's unredacted version.
There is no list of MPs who have shown disloyalty to Canada. I am vastly relieved.
I'm not relieved at all, nor, in fact, I am more disturbed.
The Prime Minister pointing to the confusion as one of the reasons all opposition leaders should see the full findings themselves.
That demonstrates that there is a certain amount of responsibility that party leaders have to engage with this, which highlights that the decision by the Conservative leader and the leader of the official opposition to not get a security clearance, to not choose to even read the unredacted report before engaging in political attacks and oversimplifications is not responsible leadership.
The Conservative leader's office says Pierre Poilievre would welcome a briefing if Canada's spy agency has concerns about his party or caucus. So far, that hasn't happened. And as for Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet, he's still waiting for his security clearance. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Israeli officials say Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved the war cabinet overseeing the fighting in Gaza. It comes days after a key senior member quit over the government's handling of the 8-month-long war. In Gaza, the delivery of humanitarian aid to starving Palestinians continues to face more challenges. Sasha Petrovic reports.
Protests in Jerusalem continue, insisting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bring some 120 hostages home from Gaza in exchange for a ceasefire deal with Hamas, pushing him to resign.
We have to replace the government. This is our only way to get them back and to get Israel back, the country that we love so much.
It's not the only political pressure on Netanyahu. He disbanded his war cabinet after the resignation of Benny Gantz, a moderate opposition leader and former general. Netanyahu concentrating power rather than giving more say to his hardline coalition partners, but vowing to keep fighting despite the deaths of 8 soldiers over the weekend. We must stick to the goals of the war, he says, the destruction of Hamas. Netanyahu also seems to be at odds with his generals over the issue of aid, disagreeing with their promise to halt fighting for windows of 11 hours a day in order to allow more aid in through one crossing.
The first step is to make sure that the road is safe. The road will be safe. Military-wise, it will be safe in our planning, in our attacks, etc., etc.
UN officials say they have not seen much more aid making it into Gaza, but Israel blames them.
Not having enough truck drivers, not working enough hours a day, not having enough storage. These are all different things that the UN can and should be improving.
This despite months of Israel imposing various barriers to aid distribution.
It's extremely difficult to support the population when there are so many restrictions to the entry of the necessary supplies for humanitarian aid.
Even now, as military leaders say aid will be allowed in some areas Fighting will continue elsewhere. Strikes like this one in central Gaza, operations in southern Rafah. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Toronto.
At least 15 people are dead and dozens more hurt in eastern India after a freight train smashed into a passenger train. Officials say the freight train driver ignored a signal and rammed into the rear end of the other train that was stationary. 3 train cars were pushed off the rails and into a massive pileup. One train car was left nearly vertical after the accident. Rescuers are combing through the debris field of mangled carriages for survivors. More people are feared trapped inside the massive wreckage. The top U.S. health official wants to see warning labels like those that appear on cigarette boxes or for alcohol on social media platforms. He says the popular apps can be harmful to young people's mental health. Chris Reyes reports.
America's top doctor wants Congress to approve warning labels on social media platforms similar to what you would find on alcohol and cigarettes. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy calls the mental health crisis in young people an emergency. He's urging lawmakers to act now.
A warning label would help parents to understand these risks. Many parents don't know that those risks exist. And we have data from tobacco warning labels that in fact tells us that they can be helpful in changing awareness and changing behavior.
Dr. Murthy compares the harms of social media with that of unsafe cars, planes, and food. He said you can't put all the responsibilities on parents when it comes to regulating social media use. In his op-ed, he writes, there's no seatbelt for parents to click, no helmet to snap in place, no assurances that trusted experts have investigated and ensured that these platforms are safe for kids. He wrote, there are just parents and their children trying to figure it out on their own, pitted against some of the best product engineers and most well-resourced tech companies in the world. He also said even young people are sharing stories with him, asking for help.
Talking about how it makes them feel worse about their body image, how it makes them feel worse about their lives as they're constantly comparing themselves to others.
Last year, Dr. Murthy also issued a public health advisory about social media, urging lawmakers and tech companies to make the platforms safer. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
A best-selling author made a rare visit to the Maritimes to team up with a children's orchestra. Dan Brown, who wrote the blockbuster The Da Vinci Code, took part in an interactive performance of his latest work. It's a kid's book that's set to music. The CBC's Kayla Hounsell was on hand for the show in St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
It is called Wild Symphony, and it does indeed get pretty wild. Children performing alongside the man who composed the music they're playing and wrote the words to the picture book about wild animals.
I wish I bounced like you. I want to be a kanga too.
Dan Brown rocketed to international fame with the release of the Da Vinci Code more than 20 years ago. It is one of the best-selling novels of all time and was adapted into a major motion picture.
Da Vinci.
Brown says leaving the intricate world of a mystery thriller to write a children's book was a palate cleanser.
My warmest memories as a kid was reading a children's book, a picture book, and listening to my mom's classical record collection.
He made the trip to New Brunswick to read with the Sistema New Brunswick Children's Orchestra.
I don't often go to these concerts. Wild Symphony's performed all over the world, but when I heard what Sistema New Brunswick was doing, I just said, I have to see this.
Sistema is a free music program that focuses on children who may otherwise be disadvantaged. They're required to practice for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
We focus on intensity, and they're getting into the largest music schools in Canada with the top scholarships. Or others are going into other professions, astrophysics and social work.
11-year-old Leon Wagarachi has been playing the trumpet for 3 years.
It was really special to play in front of a best-selling author. It was really cool to see him in real life, too.
Croakers, peepers, happy frogs.
Brown says by using music to create social change, Sistema has really cracked the code to something special.
When you see somebody on TV, that's somebody who practice and practice and practice, whatever they're doing. If it's kicking the soccer ball, playing a violin, that's what it takes.
A message he hopes encourages the children to do their best, no matter the performance. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, St. Andrews by the Sea, New Brunswick.
Canada's main stock index dipped Monday, while U.S. indexes for the day climbed to near record highs. Here's a look at how the markets did as we head to break. All right, well, after tonight's show, I think I have to go find the fans in my house and get them positioned in the bedrooms.
Yeah, it's going to be a scorcher for
Yeah.
a couple of days.
Is there anything worse than trying to clean a fan, too? Like, you're trying to get through those little slots there,
another
right?
spring chore to do,
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely make sure that you do get it cleaned up and ready to go, because you're going to need the fan, the air conditioner. If you've got one, I'm sure there'll be a lot of them humming over the next few days. Have a look at our viewer picture. Going to Dartmouth, and this one, I think it was last week, we had a cloud that appeared on the show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was
another neat one.
Kelvin Helmholtz, and this is another one
Looks like it was painted with a brush.
I don't know, is this the same kind or a different kind?
Yeah, this is the same kind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not quite as classic as the one we had last week, but definitely, again, the air going a little faster aloft than it is a little bit lower in the atmosphere, and as a result, you can see that almost like a wave crashing over.
Exactly.
So thanks to Robert for sharing. Okay, so if you are on the golf course, that's where Robert took this that picture. Make sure you bring a lot of water and
some sunscreen.
and some
no kidding.
sunscreen for the next few days. So mid to high 20s tomorrow, humidex values feeling more like 28 to 35. And then as we look at the Wednesday time period, this is when it really starts to crank up. And again, overnight lows won't be too bad tomorrow night. They'll be noticeably warmer and muggier, but this is Wednesdays when the mugginess really builds in. Humidex values 35 to 40 on Wednesday. And then as we look at Thursday, humidex values 36 to 42. This will be the peak. This is where we could see a few rumbles of thunder late Thursday in the northeast, but more so into the Thursday night time period as that frontal boundary will be tracking through. Let's just get right to the 7-day because, of course, that is when we're going to be looking at the isolated showers Thursday night in through Friday morning with that drier air working in and a much more tolerable weekend.
Relief on the way.
Be welcome.
A story now about a pup from Colorado who managed to get himself in a tight jam. Take a look at this.
Oh, yeah, that is the sad sound of a terrified and whimpering little Archie Bean. The 12-week-old Pekingese puppy accidentally fell 3 stories through an uncovered floor vent in his owner's home near Denver.
The tiny pup became trapped for more than 3 hours. A local fire crew sprang into action to extract him from the home's intricate ductwork and safely returned him to his owner.
Thankfully.
Happy ending there.
Oh.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.